what led me to become the CEO or a CEO? Well, I was not born as a CEO, but it's something that I always like to create things, to create concrete elements. Doesn't have to be always very complex or very intelligent, but building things that can be used, can be seen, can be further expanded afterwards. Something that I always liked. However, another side of me that was very theoretical, and my studies in Belgium were also extremely theoretical. So it was a bit schizophrenic. On the one hand, I liked creating and building, and on the other hand, I chose a path which was purely theoretical. But thank God, or whoever, or thank luck, that I went to the UK doing an MBA. Something I wanted to do. I wasn't satisfied with the content of what I was learning. Not that it was not clever or that I hated it, but again, I was missing something, and that's why I went to the UK in a different schooling system, which where the professor were much closer to the student. The classrooms were much smaller, and we could exchange. The teachers, the professors, they say, we'll learn as much as you do during this year. We know it's not true, of course. But the statement is very clear. It's about sharing. It's about being able to participate, or the need to participate. And it's something that I've always liked. So I've done that here. And of course, we learn so much. And we do so many case studies that we feel empowered to believe that we can lead the world, or the biggest companies in the world, easily. But then reality catches up, and then it's a totally different story. So the reality is that you don't become a CEO from that one day to the next, or you found your own company or so. But I was not my thought at the time. At the time, I just wanted to have a job where I can learn and expand my competencies in various angles. I didn't want to be one-sided. I liked to be able to be accustomed to various elements, and I landed in insurance, but I could have landed basically in many other fields. The point is, I was curious. I was willing to progress. During my career, I had the chance to always be in the forefront and of innovation, or being able to influence what we were doing. So it's something that I kept on doing, and since I liked it, I put a lot of effort into it, and I went further into it, and I landed my first CEO job, which was in a small entity in Luxembourg, and I was given a lot of room and decision power by the shareholders. The company was doing good money, very profitable. It was something that was the key, is focus on profit. And then, rather than just relying on my laurels, or resting on my laurels and relying on the fact that the money was flowing, I thought it was much better for me to take things in my own hands and further build on what we had. And I loved it. And I've done that for several years. What do you need to do then as a CEO? It's not about building only. It's about establishing bridges. It's about creating the right content to understand the environment the right way, and keep on progressing. So it's not done in one day, of course. It's a long-term approach where plans need to be made and are being made, are being changed, adapted, further challenged by the stakeholders. But I liked it very much in the sense that it was always making a step forward. It allowed me to understand all those elements, but it was, of course, as I said, a small firm with a restricted, smaller value chain, and once I had the chance to expand that, I did. And how did I do that without asking for too much information and too much money, too much support, too much things around? I shared my project to other entities of the group I was working in, and we established a multi-company value chain. So I was taking of one part of the value chain, with some partners a bit more than others. But the key was to implement a partnership structure that was the strategy itself. So the strategy was not purely to do the business, but it was creating partnerships to do the business, which was for the benefit of all the stakeholders involved, and that's something that worked really well. And there was an exhilarating moment with presenting to the highest executive level of a big English bank with a very positive feedback for the business that we were promoting. So there were exhilarating moments, there were the hard work moment. The key was that there was a vision, there was partnerships, there was stakeholder management, there was investment approved, and there was willing stakeholders and shareholders. So that there was a lot of positivity. Freedom was important, was there, and guidelines were given that were very clear from the group. So that was my first experience. But it was very clear for me that I needed much more than simply that. I needed to be able to understand scale. I needed to be able to understand much more the management structure, the finesse of management, and a big group could give me that. So I left the CEO position, and I've put a lot of effort into learning how big groups are working in the finesse, as I said, of how that works, and that needs competencies. So I found that it was I found myself very good at the time, but I was just too short to be an all-rounder as a CEO. So I went into learning that, as I said, and by doing that, it gave me so many different angles into the CEO that I after a few years I thought, how could I have done the job I did in the past without knowing so little? But of course, the basis is there, the energy is there, the willingness to work, the ability to connect, and I expanded that and improved that, and that's where I've taken the second CEO position, where it was also a challenging situation, and it was taking a team and bringing the team forward. The team was great because it was international business. There was on the team like 20 nationalities at least, and we were serving global located people. So it was very interesting and fitting in my wishes to remain and deliver on a larger scale. And I was able to use so many elements that I've learned in the big group, like structure, HR, processes. And when I say processes, all the tools that HR can give you in the big groups that are overstructured in a smaller unit, to be able to create a much stabler environment and connect better with the HR department, and expanding that. And thanks to the network, thanks to what I had learned, I was able to kickstart that position in an optimal way. And then I kept on learning, because things are changing. Things that you're doing in big group are not useful anymore in a smaller unit. You don't have the resources, you don't have the time, you don't have the need. The return on investment for time spent on doing things perfect is great in a big group, because it needs to be like that for to be fitting in the structure. But in a smaller or in a smaller unit, then you need to put things on the side and focus on what's important for that unit. So learning all that was so important. And then we've expanded the business. I also was able to use what I learned in that big group into an acquisition and a merger structure, so that creating the strategy, creating the process, aligning of the value chains, and driving the path forward into what was becoming afterwards a single unit, is something that it was my first experience doing it firsthand, But thanks to what I had taken and the learning I had done in that previous role, I was able to navigate it in a much easier way. So my journey as a CEO is based on what I like is doing things, establishing bridges, creating networks, connecting with people. It's so important. It's about being present as a person and considering the team as people, and bringing them towards the common goal or the vision that is established. And at the end of the day, creating something which is successful in terms of business. So all those elements together are shaping me and helping me, and fostering also this what I have in me to lead teams and to become a CEO.